Bad decisions in logistics technology can break careers and make careers. It can send customers to soaring new heights or put them in the depths of the doldrum. Technology is a crowded marketplace full of vendors with bright and shiny objects and three-letter acronyms or TLAs. Can be a confusing place at times, but I'm here to help. My name is Marshall Hughes. My background is in logistics and technology, where I've spent over 25 years helping companies make decisions around which tech to use, why to use tech, spent millions of dollars in making good decisions, and even run my own logistics technology startup. So you've joined into episode 6 of the Logistics Technology Mind Map, and today we're going to look at integrations. If you haven't seen the first 5 videos, you might want to go back and start there to give you a bit of an overview. If you don't have time to look at the videos, then you can always hit me up for a free strategy call at askmarsh.com. So let's get going. Integrations is an interesting part of the whole technology decision-making process, especially for logistics companies or companies in the logistics space, where we spend so much of our time working with our suppliers and with our customers. So we're going to look at 4 key areas today, which are legacy systems. Legacy systems are the existing things that you have to deal with. Planned systems, this is what's coming next, obviously, and also our suppliers and our customers. Really interesting thing about logistics tech within the space of integrations is it's very rare to find any logistics technology that is never going to have to talk to any other technology. So it's really, really vital that when you're looking at this area, bear everything in mind. You're going to get other stakeholders from within the business and within the ecosystem that you're in, coming in and giving you their 10 cents worth, so to speak. So let's start off with legacy systems here. So the things to look at for legacy systems are, the first is export capabilities. Actually, we'll look at export capabilities and import as one. You're going to be receiving data from somewhere and sending it to somewhere else. There is a whole bunch of jargon around that, whether it be people talking about webhooks, flat files, CSVs, XML, web services, and whatever else. Just think this is, you've got stuff here and you've got to get the stuff there, and then you might have to get it back again. There's a lot of issues around with legacy systems about their ability to actually talk to other systems. People might be saying you've got to use FTP, and then the vendor might be able to work with FTP and whatever else. It's really important before you deploy any technology or spending money that you ensure that you can continue to talk to the people you need to talk to. Third-party dependencies is another one. So within your business, the logistics technology you have might already be talking to an ERP, enterprise resource program, or to an inventory management program, to a sales platform, maybe even to email. So when you're looking to remove something, when you remove that, is that going to stop something else from working? Are there going to be cascading issues where, sure, you've just dropped a mill on a new piece of software, but now you're going to have to spend another couple of $100,000 replacing the thing that only worked with that software? That's a really important thing to look at, and it's the unforeseen circumstances. This is often the time when you do have to go and talk to the janitor and say, what are you using? Just in case the janitor is using something critical that everything else is relying upon. Another thing you have to look at with legacy systems is the quality of your current databases. This is often a problem in sales related technology where the data is just rubbish. The contacts aren't up to date. They've moved companies. The company might not have even existed, or it might have been bought 3 times. So when you're looking to replace an existing piece of software or hardware with a new one, where's the data going to come from for the new system? Which legacy system, which existing system is that going to come from? And should someone be doing a bucket load of work in cleaning that up first? Or do you start with a completely fresh database? Or is there some sort of place in the middle? When you're looking at replacing technology, the stuff you've already got is not going to last forever. So making a decision to bring in software A because you already use software B might be a great decision unless software B is at end of life. And those of you who've recently been through the various Windows upgrades will be painfully aware of this, where everything was running fine on XP and then it was running fine on Windows 7, and now none of that's supported, and you're not on Windows 10, you're in trouble, but the software might not be able to run on those platforms. Something to look forward to for future proofing as well. Can be a challenge. So If you're only deploying something and it's only supposed to last 3 years, that might be okay. That's a decision you might want to make. But what are the other factors around the lifetime? The other thing you need to look at as well is the existing legacy systems might not, might be doing more than what you need, because you might need it in the future. You may have needed it in the past. There may have been a multi-site platform, but you've gone back down to one site. You don't need that anymore. But what you don't know is that the board is about to decide at the next meeting that you're going to roll out to multi-sites again. So it's important to keep that flexibility and to not to lose anything when you replace an existing system just because you went and got a new system. So the future functionality, the future business direction, that's what you need to be aware of as well. So not everything is a surprise in business, fortunately. So there's going to be some planned changes coming within your business. So it might be replacing the accounting software or the sales software or something like that. So when you're looking to introduce new technology, it's just going to make everyone's life easier if you look at what the other divisions of the business are doing and what decisions they're already making. So this is about the current scope, about what they're currently rolling out. Is there a priority? Is it, you might be trying to make a decision right now around logistics, but you're actually not going to get to implement that for 2 years because your tech department has just said, no, the only thing we're going to do for the next 2 years is roll out the new ERP. So it's important to be aware of where you fit in that time frame. If you're going to be integrating into those new systems, who gets priority, who gets the first order, what's the source of truth going to be? So it's important to know where you fit in the hierarchy there. And the other thing is that with these new systems coming on board, there might be new requirements placed upon the software or the hardware you're about to introduce that you don't even know about yet. So you may now be required to move from FTP to CSV to whatever it might be. You've got to know that before you implement. So open communication is really good. Hopefully the people you work with are going through a similar sort of process and they're also asking you what should be going on. If not, you've got to put your hand up and ask. So those two issues have been mostly internal systems around what you can do. Another critical one is your suppliers. If you're working on anything that's Kanban or just in time, you need to know that you can continue to operate exactly the way the supplier expects you to operate. You can't go and change the rules on some of these people. Sometimes you're not in a market position to dictate to them. Sometimes you are, so have a crack. If your ranking is high enough, if you're important enough, then maybe they'll roll with you, but you can't always guarantee that. So you just need to look at what your suppliers are doing around their existing capability and what they're planning on changing to as well. If, like most businesses, 80% of your stock's coming from one or two places, then you really need to make sure that you're right on top of that issue and that you don't go upsetting everyone in purchasing and the broader supply chain. Also need to look at just how important the suppliers are. So if a supplier says, listen, you can do everything you like, but just don't move to program A, you need to talk within the business if that might be the best program for you and the advantages to your business might outweigh the reliance upon that supplier. It's just something to bear in mind where you've got to weigh the priorities. And the final thing is there going to be a cost to your suppliers if they have to introduce new technology to deal with the technology changes you make? One thing is you may not care and they can just wear it. Another one is your agreements might be quite marginal and there may be a push then to increase the costs to you to accommodate the changes that you've forced on them. An example might be a company that decides that every truck that picks up or delivers has to have a unique device in it. If you don't already have compatibility with that unique device, or if they've got compatibility, who's going to pay for the extra device to go in? Who's going to pay for the changes that have to happen? Again, just to bear in mind that when you're weighing up the options, there's a cost to everything you do or don't do. Just where's the win? Where's the best cost? Where's the best outcome for everyone? And pretty much the same goes for customers. So everything we talked about with suppliers applies to customers. Same relationship. If the customer's not important to you, it doesn't matter. If the customer's critical. So for example, if you're a hardware supplier in Australia, there's probably one or two hardware retailers you really don't want to annoy. And you really have to make sure that your integrations are fully compatible with everything they want. There may be some independence that you don't care much about. There may be some opportunities. This is where we talk about the effect on new sales. There may be opportunities for new business with the things that you bring in. So this is where you can talk to your salespeople about why are we missing out on sales now? Well, we're missing out on sales because we're not filling out just in time, et cetera, for these retailers, or we're not compatible with their system for deliveries. We're not sending the advanced shipping notices, whatever it might be. So it's important to engage different stakeholders in the business. So your sales, if you're talking about customers, your purchasing, if you're talking about suppliers, your fellow managers, if you're talking about the planning, and everyone, if you're talking about legacy systems. So it can be pretty complex. Obviously, the bigger your company, the worse the more exciting this gets. For smaller companies, it might be much simpler, but still just important to bear in mind that in the connected supply chain that we are now in, you won't be able to get away without integrating to a lot of different stakeholders as you go along. So that was integrations. Thank you very much for listening. As always, if you want a strategy session, hit me up at askmarsh.com. We can have a chat further. Talk soon. See ya.